Live from downtown Macon, this is WGXA News live on YouTube.
Good evening, Middle Georgia. I'm Amanda Peralta. My co-anchor, Greg Lloyd, has the night off. We thank you for watching WGXA News at 5:30. Well, it was another rainy start to the weekday, which is never good news for me, but meteorologist Ryan Mirando joins me now, and probably to give me bad news, because he's kind of like the bearer of bad news.
I mean, the rain is not always a bad news thing. It always can, give you some extra groundwater, especially for grass to help keep it green, but you're definitely going to want to grab the rain gear really for this entire work week. A live lookout over Macon with our Wilson Bryant Heating and Air Skycast Network. The roads are wet right now. There's a lot of clouds in place, and we do have some showers around. This upper level low that we're tracking over Kentucky is really going to be the main culprit of all this rain for the entire week. It's slowly going to drift southwards, and that's going to throw bands of showers and storms our way really all the way until the weekend. And out here right now, we're kind of into a lull. We still do have some showers out there on the radar right now, tracking some showers that are moving into Peach County and Macon County, moving further eastward. We'll be heading over Warner Robins and Macon here over the next half an hour or so. And a little farther to the east, we still do have some scattered activity. Got a bit of a downpour about to move over Gordon right now, but more into Washington County and Sandersville, also getting some of that rain. So we'll look at what's coming up. We will have this wet and stormy pattern. Grab the rain gear. We could potentially get 2 to 5 inches of rain by the time we get towards Friday. But we also have a little bit of some tropical activity. Tropical storm Brett forms the Atlantic, and we could even have Cindy. I'll break down all the details on when this rain could end coming up in your full forecast. Amanda.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Now is a great time to download the WGXA weather app, or if you already have it, make sure to update the app. There are some new exciting features that will notify you of lightning strikes nearby and rain updates for your location. Ryan is back in less than 20 minutes with your 10-day forecast. While more storms are threatening millions of Americans across the South, it comes as the region continues to deal with scorching temperatures. Katie Byrne has more.
It gets 110, 120 degrees sometimes, and it's especially hot out on the road.
Record-breaking heat is smothering much of the South this week. In Texas, forecasters say the heat index could reach 122 degrees at times. State and local officials are urging residents to limit their time outdoors and drink plenty of water.
If you start experiencing muscle cramps when you're outside, if you start profusely sweating, that is a time to get out of the heat into a cooler environment and begin rehydrating as quickly as possible.
Monday morning, some 465,000 customers were battling that heat without power as severe storms continue to pummel the region. Large hail, tornadoes, and gusty winds threatening millions of Americans. In Mississippi, the system snapped tree limbs and spawned a reported tornado in the town of Lewin, killing at least one person and injuring nearly 24 others.
I heard it come through like a god-awful noise.
While in Oklahoma, crews raced to restore power after damaging winds toppled trees and power lines.
We just found out we have a leak in one of the rooms, so there is some roof damage, and of course, can't fix it until we get those tree limbs out the way.
The severe weather also hampering cleanup efforts in Perryton, Texas, days after a tornado tore through the town.
We could see like the actual tornado just right there beside our house. We got the house over. And yeah, we barely beat it in time.
Here in the Northeast, forecasters say to expect rain and thunderstorms later this week. In Philadelphia, Katie Byrne, Fox Weather.
As Americans celebrated Juneteenth and Father's Day, the weekend proved to be no holiday from gun violence. Multiple shootings upended gatherings, large and small, across the country and took the life of a state trooper in Pennsylvania. Adrian Broadus has more.
I've never been in anything like this, honestly.
At least one person was killed, 22 others injured at a shooting Saturday night during a Juneteenth celebration in Willowbrook, Illinois. That's about 21 miles west of Chicago. The DuPage County Sheriff's Office says deputies were on site to monitor the event, but around 12:25 a.m., they were called to respond to another incident, but immediately returned when they heard gunfire erupt.
We were all just out, and next thing you know, shots just got going off, and everybody ran, and yeah, it was chaos.
Investigators say the shooting took place in a parking lot, and an unknown number of suspects fired multiple rounds into the crowd. No arrests have been made.
The motive behind this incident is unclear.
In St. Louis, a 17-year-old male is dead and 9 others injured after a shooting at a party in an office building. St. Louis Metropolitan Police say the victims range in age from 15 to 19.
Additionally, a 17-year-old female was possibly trampled coming down the stairs, running from the scene, and has serious injuries to her spine.
Investigators say they found multiple weapons at the scene, including an AR-15 style rifle. Officers say a 17-year-old suspect is in custody. 2 people are dead, several others hurt after a shooting at the campgrounds near the Gorge Amphitheater near Quincy, Washington, about 160 miles east of Seattle.
It's really sad that that happened too. Like, people were just trying to come out here to have fun.
Officers responded around 8:23 p.m. Saturday during the first night of an electronic dance music festival. The Grant County Sheriff's Office says the shooter shot 4 people in the campground, then continued firing into the crowd. CNN affiliate Como says when officers caught up to the suspect, they fired their weapons, injuring the alleged shooter, who survived.
We don't know what the motives were or what the intentions were of the shooter.
And here in the mid-state, we're also dealing with a recent slew of violence. A shooting in downtown Macon around midnight last night has left a man recovering in the hospital. Now, according to deputies, 2 people got into a fight in front of the Hummingbird Stage and Tap Room on Cherry Street. They then took out guns and started firing. They ran after the gunfight, but not before a man was shot in the leg. He is listed in stable condition at the hospital. And a few hours before that, another man was shot in the leg at the Chevron gas station on Eisenhower Parkway. He was taken to the hospital and is in stable condition. Investigators are looking into what led to the shooting. And America's police and the GBI are on the hunt for the suspect who shot and killed a man over the weekend. According to the GBI, officers were called to Poplar Street early Sunday morning where shots were fired. That's where they found Jamarcus DeRizio. He died from his injuries at a local hospital, and investigators have not released any information about a suspect. And Milledgeville police have made an arrest in connection to a deadly shooting from this weekend. 30-year-old Tavish Goddard was arrested at Highland Avenue for the shooting death of Joshua Corey. Corey was found dead Saturday morning on Evans Avenue with a bullet wound. Goddard was facing malice murder, aggravated assault, and firearm possession charges. And in Warner Robins, police are investigating after a person was shot Friday night. Officers say they were called to Inverness Avenue near Galan Way by 2 people involved in the shooting. They arrived to find the person suffering from a gunshot wound to the head. No update on the victim's condition. The 2 callers were cooperating with police, and officers say all 3 knew each other and this wasn't a random incident. Police are looking for a dark-colored sedan they believe was involved. And officials in Twiggs County are still on the hunt for a suspect who ran from a traffic stop Friday. They say Lamonta Thomas was last seen on Hill Brown Road near the trash dump. He's facing multiple violent charges in the Atlanta area, including armed robbery and aggravated assault. If you see him, call the Twiggs County Sheriff's Office or 911 immediately. While the search continues for that suspect, 2 men are now behind bars for robbing the AT&T on Riverside Drive in Macon last week. Gary Johnson III and Julian Bowman were arrested yesterday by Georgia State Patrol and Fulton County deputies in Atlanta. Deputies say the 2 went into the store with guns and demanded a range of Apple tech. Both men were transported back to Macon, and Johnson is being held without bond, but Bowman was released on a nearly $6,000 bond. A Macon shop will be in court this week to make its case for why it should stay open. Last week, Macon-Bibb County filed an emergency motion to shut down M&M Grocery, calling it a threat to public safety. In 2022, the county took the store to court for the first time over safety concerns, with hundreds of 911 calls and several deadly shootings. An order was put in place to limit store hours and set conditions to combat the crime. The county now says that order isn't being followed, and the court hearing next Thursday will decide if the store must close down for good. East Lawrence County Middle School mourns the loss of 12-year-old Colton Foskey after a boat wreck turns deadly. The Georgia Department of Natural Resources says game wardens responded to a boat crash on the Oconee River in Treutlen County. Reports say the boat hit a sandbar and ejected the child, who ended up trapped under the boat and unconscious. Officials say they attempted to revive the child, but he was pronounced dead after being taken to the hospital. The DNR Critical Incident Response Team is investigating the case. And in Cordele, Crisp County Fire Rescue says a 911 call from a Good Samaritan helped keep the lightning fire under control. First responders say a barn was struck by lightning just south of Cordele on Highway 41. They were able to quickly respond and snuff the fire out. Chris Sheriff Billy Hancock says the fire was contained to just the barn and its contents, and adds that this is a reminder of how powerful nature can be. And look at this home that caught on fire overnight. The Sandersville Fire Department says it arrived to this home on West Church Street just before 3 a.m. where the home was halfway on fire. Crews say no one was home when the flames broke out, and they were able to quickly douse the fire with no injuries. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. And firefighters were called in early Sunday morning fire to Airport Road in Dodge County. Our Gloria Ruth Finney is live there now to tell us about the concern following the blaze. Gloria Ruth?
That's right, Amanda. They wouldn't let me onto the property, but the Dodge County Fire Department did confirm that Balance Surface Technologies did catch fire Sunday around 7 a.m. Dodge County authorities are investigating concerns after an aerospace facility caught fire for a second time this year. Fire crews went out to the Balance Surface Technologies Sunday morning to battle the blaze. Crews were able to put the fire out, but say that environmental concerns are being investigated by local, state, and federal agencies. Now, I did reach out to that company that's known for painting airport planes at this facility to ask what ignited the fire and how this happened for a second time at this facility. I'll continue to follow any potential environmental concerns. Reporting live in Eastman, Gloria Ruth Finney, WGXA News.
And grab the umbrella and the rain gear as you're stepping out for work this week, as we will have a very unsettled stormy pattern. As we look at our rain chances, we really will have widespread showers and storms for the next 2 days. It's going to be not an all-day rain, but waves of showers and storms coming in. As we end the work week, we'll lower those down to scatter. Then the weekend, some isolated showers around. So really the next few days is going to be the best chances for some heavy downpours and some gusty thunderstorms that we're keeping an eye on, all thanks to an upper level low. Even out there right now, we still do have some showers and a few rumbles of thunder. We're tracking this one line that's kind of moving through southern Bibb County down over Peach County right now and into portions of Taylor and Macon County. This is all shifting eastward, so Byron, Fort Valley, moving towards Warner Robinson 75 and down towards Montezuma, about to get hit with a little bit more rain and some more unsettled activity a little farther east. This looks to be our heaviest cell right now, right over Gordon and Ivy, moving towards McIntyre, but still more unsettled activity that'll be pushing in to Washington County. So rainfall totals so far, already Fort Valley, Byron, and Warner Robins have got over an inch of rain. Macon hasn't made it quite there yet, a little bit above 3/4 of an inch, but even Plains at around half an inch of rain, and still a lot more. We could expect another 2 to 5 inches of rain over the next 5 days or so, and that's all thanks to this upper level low that was right now over Kentucky. This is going to actually head southwards, and like today, been throwing bands of showers and storms our direction. So really tracking it out. Notice as this low pressure begins to push south, maybe even tomorrow morning, just a lot of clouds. We may start out dry, but there could still be a few areas of some drizzle. The activity really picks up by the afternoon into the evening around 8 o'clock tomorrow. This stays right over top of us, keeps throwing showers and storms our way as we head towards tomorrow as well. So definitely a good idea to want to grab the umbrella, maybe even the rain boots, stepping out for work this week. The rest of tonight, thunderstorms around 69 degrees for the overnight low. Really going to be a wet work week for us. And we're even tracking some active weather in the tropics. Right now we have our second system, Tropical Storm Brett, and we even have another system that we're keeping an eye on just behind it that could potentially become Cindy. Now, this is a very rare setup that we have. The Atlantic waters right now are the warmest they've ever been to date. So usually this area that we're watching for comes around August or September, but it's June. So it's rather unique that we have a storm system out there right now. This will intensify into a Category 1 storm as it moves further to the west into the Lesser Antilles. Not going to be impacting the U.S. over the next 7 days or so, just something that we are keeping an eye on for you. So in your 10-day forecast, a very wet work week for us, some widespread rain and storms tomorrow, 84 degrees. It's actually the first start of summer, the summer solstice on Wednesday, but still going to feel a little bit cooler than that. The high only 82 degrees with a lot of those showers and storms around. Even Thursday, we're still tracking a lot of that rain with that low pressure, 81 degrees. And then rain chances finally begin to back off on Friday. Some scattered storms around, maybe a few peaks of sunshine, 86. And we're back into the summertime pattern for the weekend. We're back up into the low 90s. It's hot. A few of those scattered into isolated storms around in the afternoon, and then we're back to that system once again on Monday with a few afternoon storms. So lastly, here's your Harrison's Body Shop Fishing and Game forecast. Peaks at 4:40 a.m. and 4 p.m.
Well, cities across the country are holding parades, marches, and other events to mark Juneteenth today. The holiday commemorates when the last enslaved people in the United States learned they were free. In 1865, Union soldiers arrived in Galveston, Texas to make the announcement 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was issued during the Civil War. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee in Galveston today speaking on her efforts to make Juneteenth a federal holiday.
And being seated with the soil of Texas and all of you in my blood and in my spirit, I kept introducing the resolution. For I knew that Juneteenth was not a black holiday. It will never be a black holiday. It was a holiday of America's history.
Juneteenth became a federal holiday in 2021 under President Biden. According to the Pew Research Center, at least 28 states and Washington, D.C. are closing government offices today and giving state workers a paid day off. And today in Macon, the city held its inaugural Juneteenth parade, and there was a lot to see as people from all communities came to help celebrate the moment. Carlos Stevens was there for it all and tells us more about the historic celebration.
The streets of downtown Macon were filled with leaders from all across Middle Georgia, helping the Macon community celebrate Juneteenth. June 19th is also known as Freedom Day, marking the day that slavery ended for African Americans. It has been celebrated by communities across the country for more than a century. Atlanta Falcons linebacker Bud Dupree was the grand marshal of the parade, and he says being a part of today's historical moment goes far beyond football.
No, just knowing history, learning, man. Make sure you know what's going on in the world. Football and sports is one thing, but to be smart about other things as well is always a pleasure.
Pastor of St. Luke Missionary Baptist Church, Jarvis Edside, says this isn't just about freedom, but celebrating those who paved the way.
So this statement today is to say that we applaud the efforts of our ancestors, and I think that it would be absolute robbery not to come together and celebrate the work that they did years ago.
And Edside says there's no better feeling than to have everyone rally behind each other.
It makes me feel good to know that there are many that are fighting again to keep our history alive.
I also spoke to local photographer Jay McClinton, who says while it took a lot to get to this point, he's proud to be on the right side of history.
Everything that everybody has been through, you know what I'm saying, we made it out and we faced adversity. So now it's showing that we on top.
On top of things like creating a better future for the next generation.
That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. Go down on the man up.
It's a miracle that all of us are here, and we're all free.
And following the parade, the Macon Juneteenth family reunion kicked off on Cherry Street in front of the Tubman Museum. The event, hosted by Macon Black Culture Urban CEO Incorporated and Cure Violence Macon, featured a cook-off and spades tournament. Marshall Talley of Macon Black Culture says it's important to bring the community together for the holiday.
One of the missions of Macon Black Culture is to activate events. So it's very important for us to bring the community together to show that we stand in solidarity, to show that we have a mission of empowering our community.
The event also served the community with a mental health gym and kids play area to enjoy along with live entertainments. Well, June is Black History Month, and Macon, of course, has been home to many talented Black artists throughout the years. Our Gloria Ruth Finney sat down with one of Macon's own to talk about the cultural influence spanning across genres and his own experiences out on the road.
Macon has soul. Just ask Newton Collier, touring with Sam and Dave. He's played all over. But this is home.
Born right here in Macon, Georgia.
Collier first learned to play piano, later the trumpet. His big break came when he was asked to go on the road with Sam and Dave. He's toured the world, the country, and the pre-Civil War South.
The Green Book is a book that they use, so all of the entertainers use it, from 1935 up until 63, I think they stopped it about that time.
It was a travel guidebook for Blacks in the South, where they could go, where they could stay, where they could eat.
And each city was basically that way. They had somewhere hooking you into the Chitlin Circuit.
The Chitlin Circuit, Newton says how it got its name is pretty simple.
That's what you were getting ready to eat.
After being shot in the jaw by a stranger, Collier still plays the horn. It's electric, matching his hums for embouchure. When it comes to music talent, specifically in this city, Collier says,
It's in the water.
He says the black music talent here predates the local legends who made it big. Collier says back before the Civil War, when cotton was brought in to be sold, African Americans were brought up from coastal Georgia islands on riverboats to entertain crowds.
Violin players and banjo players, I put it like that. That was a band. That was a band. They were all black. They came up from the islands, and they were playing what was called folk music.
It's what Collier says originated from African hymns, and from that, gospel, blues, and jazz all came to be from African Americans.
If you ever notice, every soul singer in the 50s and 60s came out of the church.
Soul, rock and roll, or rhythm and blues. Pretty much all music history can be dated back to black music history.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gary Thigpen, and we're here again at the Bibb County Animal Services in Macon. And folks, I just want to say thank you all. We get so many reports, not only from Elvin and the folks here, but other agencies around, some beautiful dogs finding some forever homes. And we have a beautiful dog we're going to tell you about today. I'm joined with Elvin and Audrey. And who do we have today, Elvin?
This is Dooley. Dooley's about a year old, 53 pounds, very playful, very loving. He loves belly rubs, and he's lap pit mix, very good boy.
And you know, most of these dogs that come in are very loving, and they're just looking for a really good home because of unfortunate situations that happen to them. And you said Dooley is a male, about 1 year old, and you said maybe has a little lab in him, maybe?
Yeah, I would say somewhere around the lap pit mix.
Mm-hmm.
You can probably tell because of his size, the lap size.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, he's just a cuddle bug.
And look at that. Look how loving he is. He loves to receive love. He wants to give love to your family. So if someone would like to adopt Dooley, how do they go about doing that,
Well,
Elvin?
they can contact me at 478-972-4975, or they can reach us through Facebook.
All right, let's make Dooley another success story here in Middle Georgia. Let's find him a really good home. Thank you so much, Elvin and Audrey.
Well, the Emerald Isle wants dwellers for some of its smaller islands, and they will help buyers with a few catches. The government of Ireland wants to help people move to some of its remote western islands. The government established an Our Living Islands campaign to populate 30 islands for revitalization, and they will help with grants up to $92,000 US. But if granted, the money can only be used for redecoration, installing insulation, and refurbishing homes. While you may be granted ownership, it does not guarantee you will be able to live there.
I thought of a great idea why we're talking about this. Let's go get an island. We move out there, and then we're on the islands, and we're chilling, and then we recreate The Little Mermaid.
Okay.
I was thinking about it. I was like, they're on the island. I was like,
So do you think that Ireland is a place for you?
I don't know if it's a place for me, like long term. Maybe I'd go there, film The Little Mermaid.
And then come back?
Disney would then hire me to be like, they'd make another one with me being the lead star.
Oh, so you want to be Eric?
Yeah, no, I want to be Ariel.
Okay.
Eric, who's that? I don't know her.
Well, you are the guy.
I am happy that at least in the movie they kind of fleshed him out a tiny bit, so they gave him like a song and some personality instead of just.
So this time
like,
you'd be able to sing.
I'd be able to sing, yeah.
Okay. I guess we'll see if that pipe dream works out for you.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, that'll do it for WGXA News at 5:30. We invite you to join us at 6 on ABC 16.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you later.